This is the SES Defender of Freedom uploading data log for days 115 to 118 of the Galactic War. Hello Data Archive, the Meridian super colony is no more. Against all odds, today marks our major victory and turning point in this war. The battles hard fought, our fallen heroes remembered forever. Though our greatest threat vanquished, freedom never sleeps, and the cleansing of the fallout begins immediately. At the start of day 115, we saw progress finally beginning after nearly 2 days of combat. The Terminid resistance on the planet was falling to nearly half of what it began as. The plan was working, and further support to our forces arrived that early morning. Many Helldivers were lost on the first 2 days of the Battle of Meridia, as they were overrun by massive Terminid breaches occurring directly beneath our dark fluid deployment drills. In response, the Ministry of Science rapidly engineered upgrades to the Tectonic drills, which now prevent Terminid breaches in its immediate vicinity through the use of ultrasound frequencies in the ground. Stupid bugs just hate certain sounds, so easily fooled. Additionally, homemade napalm created by patriotic citizens to support the battles in Meridia allowed all Helldivers to deploy with napalm airstrikes. The widely popular Super Earth pastime of burning bugs with napalm had every barely able-bodied citizen already very familiar with the process. These two upgrades made the mission success rate on Meridia improve significantly. As we continued to make progress, the resistance on Meridia began to decrease further. It seems the more dark fluid we pushed into the planet, the less resistance the bugs were able to push back against us. Following this breakthrough, we received notice that spores have begun to more violently erupt from Meridia, and new outbreaks have appeared in Akamar 4 and Turing. But Helldivers continue to focus on Meridia, as this may be our only chance. It was starting to show that all of our efforts in the past days were not in vain, and it seems the tide was finally turning in our favor on the super colony. Only 4 hours later, our priority campaign progress doubled, further decreasing the resistance rate on the planet. Progress continued to increase rapidly, as it seemed clear the effects of our efforts was starting to affect the super colony, leading to yet another breakthrough just under 4 hours later, further plummeting Terminid resistance on the planet. For the remainder of the day going into day 116, Helldivers struck a critical blow, cutting the resistance rates down by over 35%. At this point, it was clear it was only a matter of time before we would succeed. For the next 5 hours, Helldivers pressed the advantage, but the bugs also seemed to push back in their final efforts to protect their hive. But Helldivers are fearless to the face of any threat to our freedom, and will always prevail in the end. By now, Helldivers have learned and adapted to the conditions on Meridia, and lacking any further underhanded tactics, the stupid bugs continued to falter. Shortly afterwards, High Command released a dispatch indicating it is as we expected. The dark fluid appears to have begun disrupting the Terminid hives, and tectonic integrity has begun to decrease. But further spore eruptions from Meridia continued to affect other systems, as another Terminid attack broke out on Fenrir 3. Evacuation orders in all nearby systems were issued. Eliminating the source was a priority, and Helldivers continued to do whatever it takes to destroy the super colony once and for all. As the critical mass of dark fluid grew ever closer, our progress continued to skyrocket, but shortly afterwards control of Turing and Akamar 4 were lost. But these planets can be recovered, and our resolve was unshaken, and less than 3 hours later, Terminid resistance was reduced entirely, and victory was in our grasp. It has been 82 days since we began the installation of the TCS. Countless battles followed through the Draco and Mirren sectors that saw flying bugs and 2 billion slain in 12 hours. However, triumph was shadowed by unforeseen adversity. The TCS faltered, giving rise to the dreaded Meridia super colony. This loss only fueled our resolve, driving a fierce counteroffensive that paved our way to Meridia's heart. And now, here we stand today, at the brink of a historic victory. As the final deployments of dark fluid completed, the tremors grew much more violent, and in its final moments, all super destroyers above the planet were overridden to FTL jump to Super Earth. It was over. We had won. The super colony was destroyed, never to be seen again, and replaced by a beautiful black hole. Every Terminid spore within several billion kilometers has been sucked into the black hole. Containment of the Terminids is now once again possible, and we may look forward to a future with more beautiful Terminid farms. The fall of Meridia also caused the Terminid attack in Fenrir 3 to collapse. Victory was declared on Fenrir 3 only minutes afterwards, and the fall of the planet reopened FTL lines to Estanu and Krimsica. The scientists who aided with the development of dark fluid stores have had their sleep protocols reinstated, and have been awarded the Super Citizen Medal of Freedom. The Moridesh Research Facility has been decommissioned. Any and all concerns of unforeseen consequences from the use of the dark fluid have been determined to be unfounded. This is a total victory for Super Earth. Throughout this major order on Meridia, 1.1 billion bugs were killed, and 26.7 million Helldivers gave their lives for freedom. The biggest congratulations must go to our Helldivers. Without their fearless contributions, we wouldn't be able to stand here today. Super Earth is safe again for another day. This is a historic victory for managed democracy. Thank you, Helldivers. Now that we've celebrated, the war still rages on. For the remainder of the day, Helldivers work to liberate Turing and secure the Umlaut sector once again, and a new automaton attack began on Vega Bay, though Helldivers focused on Vernon Wells to further secure our training facilities on Acer Pass. On day 117, High Command assigned a new mission briefing following the Helldivers' successes in Meridia. It is time to address the fallout of the Meridian supercolony. The spores of the supercolony have caused many worlds to become infected with their tyranny. With the bugs now at bay, we have been directed to reclaim these worlds. While we no longer have the aid of the TCS, the new influx of sea volunteers for conscription will allow containment of the Terminids for now through more conventional means. Meanwhile, our most talented scientists are investigating a new, better termicide, a Termicide 2.0. This will be the safest TCS ever created, and the deadliest. Super safe against Helldivers. Deadly for Terminids. To complete this major order, Helldivers must liberate Turing, Errata Prime, Akamar 4, and Fact Bay. In the afternoon of day 117, we unfortunately saw the loss of Vega Bay, and our foothold in Vernon Wells has started to slip, but we expect a counteroffensive to launch soon enough. But by the end of day 117, the patriotic spirits of Helldivers were still high, and the liberation of Turing completed in the closing hours of the day. For the remainder of day 117 into day 118, the focus was on Errata Prime, to once again regain full control over the Umlaut sector. With nearly 2 out of the 4 planets liberated in less than half the time, it seems we are on pace to succeed this major order. This concludes this data log for days 115 to 118 data archive. We have much to be proud of from the last few days. Let's clean up these bug planets so we can begin our return to the automaton front.